Yo, yo. Uh, in the comments, tell me if you guys can hear me. I want to make sure the audio is working. Let's see. Get better lighting on this. Cheers, guys. Can you hear me though? We're good on sound? Cool. Thanks, Moy. All right. I had to step away from the TV, so I don't know how the game is going. Austin Riley's due up. I don't know if I'll get that walk or not, but regardless, let me get this ready. Well, I hope you guys are pumped up, man. The group me went off. I mean, this is awesome, man. Long season, but I'll give it maybe another minute to let if anybody else is gonna come on. If not, um, we'll just go from there. But let's give it another minute. Yeah, thanks, Moy. Yeah, I got it on Amazon, and I think it was like to customize it $50. Um, if you want one, let me know what number. And on the back, so I put, so the idea for it was that we put the league and then the year you came in. So like I was an original, so we started in '01 was our first season. So the idea was that you would put the year that you came into the league, and then obviously your name. You can put your team name or your name on the back. So mine says A Guyan Junior, and then AJ would say A Guyan to kind of differentiate, but I'm Junior. So and you can pick whatever colors you want for the jersey. I like the red black combo, so, and the pinstripe. But the idea would be the same font. Oh, and I designed a logo too for the league. You know, a little FC full count. And I can adjust that to match the colors that you choose for your jersey. But if you want it, let me know, and I'll let you know what the cost is, and if you want to keep the same colors, I'd be happy to order it for you, and you just get me back when you can. But yeah, that's something we can do down the line. But right now, we need to, again, in about like I said, in about a few seconds. If anything, I might jump out and see that Austin Riley, or let me know what happens with Austin Riley. Again, I'm a walk away from the win. But yeah. So I mean, damn, man, gotta love this league, man. This is why you stay in this league, and every week, you know, every week a matchup can end in a way you never thought. A last place team can be the first place team, and it comes down to the last possible opportunity to get into the playoffs, and especially if you're going for that last seed like Justin did. I think Dale got his playoff clinch in the last week of the season last year. I think he was a win and in situation as the 8th seed. AJ the year before, AJ was a win and in, and I remember with the 2 years ago when AJ got in at the 8th seed, he played me, I beat him. He ended up he was a win in, or if someone else lost, and AJ lost to me in the week 20, but the other person lost, so he didn't fall behind them. And then the very next week, he beats me in the first round of the playoffs. So this league is just anything can happen. That's what's great about it, and it gets your adrenaline going. But let's get started, huh? So Dale, Moy, and Justin, we're here. Why don't we start with the week 20 recap real quick? I want to give the performance of the week to Justin. I mean, you have to give it to Justin. The guy, he was a win and in situation, and just a dominant performance. Did not give Joe the opportunity. Even so, I think you were ahead of him. You took advantage the week before, jumped him. Joe had a pretty tough final 4-week schedule. I mean, that was brutal. I think he played like 5 straight playoff standing teams. But no, not to take anything away from you. You won, put yourself into the playoff position last week, and just had to maintain. And you did it. So performance of the week goes to Justin. Cheers to Justin. Welcome to the postseason. And then matchup of the week, I wanted to go with Alejandro and AJ, and the reason is because I would have picked mine, and even if I tie Adam, uh, the way it broke down was that the only way Alejandro would have jumped me for the championship or for the season winning or the number one seed season winnings is if I would have lost and he would have won. Any other kind of variation, I would have won. If we both tied, if we both lost, if I just got a tie. Um, but going into Wednesday, it was not looking good. My team was on a 6-day skid from the previous week till Wednesday of this week, where I was getting like 3-4 hits a day. I mean, it ended with Moy crushing me the week before, and then it carried over to this week, and it was not looking good. And Adam's team was going off. So I was like, fuck, dude, like, how am I gonna? I gotta hope that AJ can, do his brother a solid, and he did. He came through. Regardless of what would have happened with my matchup, if Adam pulls it off, or if it ends up a tie, or if I get a walk, or if Camilo Duvall comes in for the save and gets me 3 strikeouts, whatever the case may be, it was really out of my control. That's why I didn't pick my matchup for the matchup of the week. I picked AJ's and Alejandro's because Alejandro was playing to put the pressure on me to win, or he was going to take it. And then also I had stuff riding on AJ, and that was a great matchup. And surprisingly, what ended up happening was both me and Alejandro, as soon as, I don't play the voodoo game. I don't, and every time someone posts like, don't do the voodoo stuff, I don't play the voodoo game. If I acknowledge that I'm good game, the matchup's not going how I see, and I think you're gonna win, that's what I think. But sure enough, after that Wednesday post, Thursday through, and Alejandro said the same thing to AJ, Thursday through today, well, Thursday through Saturday, really, both our teams just took off. And I did not think it was going to make it a matchup, and I don't think Alejandro was either. But like I said, matchup of the week goes to those two, AJ and Alejandro. And if the playoffs work out in whatever way they do, but they could have potentially a rematch, and we'll go down into that down the line. But there you are. Your performance of the week for the last week, week 20 of the season, goes to Justin, and matchup of the week goes to the AJs. So why don't we also talk about the other winners? Dale got a big win, kept his top 5 finish. AJ, top 5 finish. Moy just on a tear. Moy, big ups, man. Your team is, your pitching was kind of what would keep other teams in your matchups, but everything's kind of going your way right now. So keep riding the wave, man. Your team's doing great. And then, of course, Justin with his big win. And then let's see, Dale, AJ, Justin, Moy, and then David. David came back with a win against Efren. Maybe that should have been the match of the week, but you got David. You couldn't give Efren a win on his last week in the league. That's pretty messed up. Nah, that's good. I mean, you hold your spot, your standings, at the 6th seed, which lines you up. I believe we'll talk about it, but lines you up with Moy. But good win, David. Comeback win. I mean, you can't knock that. Comeback win is always fun. And I did not do the voodoo. I don't, whatever. But David with the win, and then we'll see what happens with me and Adam. Could be another tie. I think that would be the 3rd tie this season. And ties played a role this year. I think Justin's tie allowed him to have a little bit of a cushion, or allowed him to jump Joe in the standings with his win last week, because that gave him like a half-point lead. And so, ties in this league are a big deal. So, so shout out to the winners for week 20. You get paid for this week, and good momentum going into the playoffs. Did everybody who won were playoff teams, right? So Dale, Justin, David, Moy, AJ, and whatever happens with me and Adam, all playoff teams that won. So it just goes to show that kind of a stamp on your season of doing well. So we saw that you do not need to have a 500 record to make it to the playoffs. I thought that the threshold for the playoffs was going to be 10 wins, but it looks like 10 wins is, you know, it sealed the deal for some people in week 19, but Justin made it happen. So and now at this point, records they don't matter. Records are thrown out the window, and now it's win or go home, and anything can happen in any week, any given Sunday showdown. And I guess we can give a quick shout out to, before I jump into the playoff talk. I don't want to go on too long. Maybe, you know, try to cap this at a half hour. But shout out to Efren, Carlos, Ray, and Joe. That's everybody. Let's toast to 9 through 12. Toast to 9 through 12. You know, quickly talk about those teams real quick. Efren the season just didn't go his way, and you know, that happens. He had a huge year last year, and it just didn't work out this year. But you know, good team. But shout out to Eric, who will now be jumping into his spot. So welcome back, Eric. He's gonna be coming back to the league to fill in Efren's spot. Efren has to leave the league, as I think all of you know now. But so shout out to Efren. Carlos, every week he's competitive, and Carlos will be there in the postseason soon. He's I think a lot of it is managing and strategy, but Carlos, I had to do everything I could. I'm glad I only played him once. He's my crutch every year, and I barely beat him this year. So good job, Carlos. Shout out to Ray. Hell of a team. I think he just caught a couple, some bad luck, right, with some star players that just didn't have the year that they were supposed to have. Trout hurt a third of the fantasy season. He's always hurt, but that hurt him. Vladdy, I don't think Vladdy's even at 20 home runs, so that hurt him. His pitching just didn't work out. So he just had some bad luck with guys he really needed to show up, and so, you know, that happens. But he has a great freeze for next year, whoever he chooses of those two. Or if he goes another route, but I think he'll probably freeze Trout. And then shout out to Joe, last but not least. He had a playoff caliber team, made a run, got Scherzer in a big acquisition, didn't have to trade draft picks, and tried to make that run. And he just caught a tough end of the schedule. So, Joe, you know, we know Joe's a good fantasy baseball player, so shout out to Joe. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about the teams who made the playoffs. Right, I'm gonna give you each a little nod. Why don't we start with Justin at the 8th seed? Justin keeping every week. I mean, if you want to be on a manager of a team that's going to stress you out, and a team that's kind of a scary team if you think about it, because they're always in every matchup. Showdown Sundays should just be called just in case you want a showdown, because this kid, if you're gonna face Justin, you're up for a showdown Sunday. So Justin just an amazing run in the second half, never falling behind the 9th seed, always keeping himself in the playoff hunt. And, you know, really, did he need other teams to kind of lose at certain points? Sure, but when he needed to win, he won. And you can't deny what he did in the last couple weeks of the season, just taking a playoff spot and then holding it. So big ups to Justin, who is now in that magic 8th seed. Like we said, the last 2 years, the 8th seeds have gone on to win the championship. So big ups to Justin. Good job, Justin. And then let's talk about number 7. That's going to be Adam. Adam's fantasy guy, right? I mean, the guy is always in the postseason, no matter if it's baseball or fantasy football. The guy just knows how to play fantasy sports. And he just has a really good team in terms of balance. He has good pitching, good offense. It's really just, I think for him it was more like When they went bad on a week, they went bad. But when they went great, he dominated. So if you catch Adam on a good week, it's going to be tough. But I think Adam will go into, if it's a tie, he'll go into the postseason at 10, 9, and 1. So with a winning record. And he's going to be facing, a tough team in the first round. So big ups to Adam. Good team. And then number 6, we got David. David, who was kind of he was first half, he was like a team of 3 points, right? Dominant first 6 weeks, 7 weeks of the season. I think he went 6-1, was in first place, just tearing it up, right? He had those Tampa Bay Stars going off, and Diaz and Rosarina. Great pitching. I love David's pitching going into the postseason. And then his team just flipped, right? He went literally 6-1 to 1-6, and at 500, and he went all the way down to, I think, like the 7th seed. And then he kind of just grinded after that. Got to win, got to loss, got to win, loss. Stayed around that 500 mark and locked up that 10th win in a playoff spot. And so David's kind of had this like ebb and flow of fantasy, which is kind of is what our league is, right? Like if you get a dominant season, it's rare. It's rare where you have, I think we've had 2 or 3 teams that won a dominant season and then won the postseason. But most teams who make the playoffs have that ebb and flow, and David was like the clear-cut representation of what it's like playing in this league as a manager, and he did it. He's in the playoffs. So big ups to David on a nice final 4 weeks of the season. He did take advantage of playing some, I don't want to say lesser teams, but lower ranked teams. And he got wins when he needed them. So good job, David. Number 5 is Dale. Returning champ, makes the postseason again. Dale kind of had a situation where he was always like around 500 and always around 4, 5 seed and kind of stayed there. So I guess consistency was big on Dale's part in terms of his team. Dale suffered through a lot of injuries. He lost key pitchers and still maintained a winning record for the most part of the season. Remember, he didn't have Kershaw or Fried for the huge part of the season. He was relying on guys like Marcus Stroman, who came up for him. And he got Harper late, which is looking like a great pick for when he drafted Harper. I think Harper was your freeze, I think, right? But regardless, now Dale's team is fully healthy, and he's poised for a playoff run. So I would say Dale, in terms of his managing, probably gets the biggest salute because of how he managed his team through attrition, and then still maybe got some lucky breaks. We all do, but kept himself always in the playoff contention and just sealed the deal. I think it was last week that he was able to get that done. So big ups to Dale. Returning champ is ready to set it off in the playoffs. And then we have AJ at number 4. Say what you want about AJ, but the guy is a multi-league champion. He finds himself in the playoffs more often than not. He knows how to draft, and the kid has a really good team. His pitching is what kind of held him back, I think, from doing even better. But ever since Lance Lynn became a Dodger, Snell kind of turned it around in the second half. AJ's pitching now is not a handicap of his team anymore, so he has a nice balanced team going into the postseason. But AJ, another one, just like Dale, consistently stayed within the playoff 8, never fell out. Gotta win, gotta loss, and just kind of maintain that situation. And then he goes off on, I think, like a 5-game or 4-week winning streak, and he's gonna finish the season, I think, with 12 wins. So AJ is very dangerous in the postseason. He just won a championship in 2021. So, let's not forget that this kid knows how to play fantasy. So good job, AJ. And then we got at number 3, Moises, man. That I think from the get-go, Moy knew his offense was, the way he drafted was really good in terms of your offense and finding pitchers that you knew would probably be able to, like, your offense could, this is just my perception, but it's like you had drafted a couple good pitchers, and then you're like, okay, I'll get a couple other pitchers that when they come 2, my team will be set. I just got to stay, you know, in that contention, and then I'll take off. And that's what we saw. I think Chris Sale's still playing, right? Um, but offense dominant. Thank God. I mean, I'm sure you're thanking that you didn't trade Altuve, because man, that would have been bad. I mean, the guy's going off. So big ups to Moy. Great offense. Moy's again another one that once his foot was on the gas pedal, he didn't get off. He just crushing teams left and right. Moy in the second half, I think, had the most revenge wins. So if you beat him in the first half, he came back and beat you in the second half. So he, like he said, he was 1-6, and then he did the flip of David, right? Then he just went off, and I'm assuming if you started 1-6, so the last 13 games, you must have. I mean, you're at 13 wins now, so I mean, you must have went 6-7-1 or 6-1, just dominant, and just having a team that's going to be very dangerous in the postseason, especially with that offense. Your offense numbers are just insane every week. So good job, Moy. Just hell of a managing job in terms of hanging on to some key players when they came back, and getting some good ads too. So good job, Moy. And then we had number 2, Alejandro, who started off kind of around that 500 area, because me and David were in the top 2, and Alejandro was like that 3-4. And then I think after week 5, Alejandro just won like 6 weeks straight and just separated himself immediately. He's the guy I have 3 losses this year, but 2 of my 3 have, well, I could still lose, but 2 of my 3 were to Alejandro, and his team is just really good. Matt Olson, like, what the hell? Matt Olson, just dominant. The guy trades Acuna, and still, it doesn't matter. The guy's in one of the best teams, finishes in the 2nd seed. He has a tremendous offense. I like his pitching, though. If one thing about Alejandro is he's got good closers too. Alejandro has a very good offense with Bo. No, that's Adam. He's got Matt Olson. Remind me, I can't look at my phone, but just a dominant team for Alejandro. No one could stop him. No one could beat him for 6-7 weeks straight. Secured a playoff spot, I think, in week 15, 16, and just never looked back. He's going to walk away. Moy's going to walk away. I don't know the winnings. I don't know if Dale posted them. I can't look at my group me right now. But Alejandro's just going to be a tough team to beat. He has a couple teams that have beat him. Of his only losses were Dale and Moy. But good luck whoever has to play him. I'm glad in the brackets, if I were to be successful in the playoffs, the only time I would play him, I think, would be in the championship. So, and then, so cheers to Alejandro. And then finally myself, this is my 3rd straight year of winning the season, going in as the 1 seed. So I have to give myself a little pat on the back. I mean, I don't know how many times someone's won 3 straight seasons, but I mean, it would be a lie. I'm hyped that I did that for the 3rd straight year, and in my most dominant year in terms of record, sealed the playoff spot before the All-Star break. You know, couldn't be happier. My team's a little got some injuries though right now, but hopefully I get one key guy back next week, and took a couple injuries to my pitching. So, but through that, I still finished the second half of the season with a winning record, despite losing, my ace and my second best pitcher. And I'm just pumped, man. Pumped to be the 1 seed, pumped to win the season. And let's just cheers, man. Cheers. So let's quickly preview the playoffs, right? So I on the thumbnail of this, I posted like the brackets. Now, according to what I saw on Yahoo, is that because Dale doesn't have it set for like reseeding after every playoff round, the brackets are going to stay how they are going to, the way I'm going to say them right now. There's not going to be a reshuffling based on ranking or anything like that. So 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, and 4 versus 5. So that means we're going to have myself versus Justin, Alejandro versus Adam, David versus Moy, and then AJ versus Dale. And then after that, the winner of 1 versus 8 plays 3 versus 6. Winner of 4 versus 5 plays the winner of 2 versus 7. So if 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 you're looking at it, you can kind of see who you could, if you win, who you could possibly face, and how you can kind of look back at your records versus them. Remember, the tiebreaker in the playoff is season record. So if you played a team twice this year, and you're playing them, so let's just say, for example, let's say David versus Moy, right? Well, let's just do me and Justin because I don't know other people's records off the top of my head. So I played Justin twice this year and I beat him twice. So if we were to tie in the playoff, I would own the tiebreaker because of the season record. Now, if you played the person in the season and you split those wins, if you played them twice and you split those wins, then it's going to go down to, the tiebreaker will be who had the biggest win in terms of the points of your matchup. So, for example, Dale versus AJ Wright, and let's say they split. They both beat each other once. But Dale beat AJ 13-2, and AJ beat Dale 9-6. Dale would get the tiebreaker because he had the biggest margin of victory in his win in the season. So, again, if you questions about that, just let me know on the group me. But and then Dale, read over the postseason pitcher ads. It's going to be, I guess, the whole injury situation. Dale brought it down. But if you're excited about this postseason, making it to the league's postseason is one of the hardest things to do. Just ask Justin, ask anybody. It's not easy to win in this league. It really comes down to managing. I don't want to point fingers or throw anybody under the bus, but if you don't manage your team, you can have a stud team and you're gonna fail. So the top 8 teams, props to you for being the best managers, playing the right moves at the right time. Some people just got a case of tough matchups, but if you have a star-studded team and you make the right manager moves, you should dominate, and you shouldn't. Bad luck happens, and anybody can beat anybody, but it drives me nuts when I lose against a team, and I see that team isn't setting their lineup. It just it drives me insane. But postseason, remember, you start 4 pitchers unless that rule comes into effect and you can elect to pick a 5th guy. But it's 4 pitchers. Get the ad tonight, the rush for the midnight ad on a Sunday night when people might work tomorrow. So if you really want it, you'll do it, right? So, but again, it's coming up on 30 minutes. Anybody have anything? Let me see if I can shout anybody's stuff out. Let me look at the comments. I guess I could do a quick matchup preview. But I mean, me versus Justin. I mean, I don't like saying, oh, this guy has this and this guy has that, because in the end it doesn't matter, because anybody can beat anyone. I'll tell you this: I like my offense in the postseason. I like David's pitching in the postseason. I like Dale's pitching, Dale's balance in the postseason. I like Moy's offense, and if his pitching can come through, but I like Moy's offense. I like Adam's balance on his team. If they all show up, they're really hard to beat. And he's got good closers too. Alejandro's same. He's got a great offense, good pitching. AJ's got good offense. I like AJ's offense in the postseason. And then again, there's strategies, right? Like, so I won't go into that too much, but how are you going to approach the postseason? Are you going to take a guy that might have 2 starts as a pitcher, even though they might be 2 difficult teams that they play against, but you want the quantity over possibly the quality of the pitching matchup? There's different things that come into effect. But I'm going to wrap it up. It's coming up exactly on 30 minutes. Real quick, let's just see what we got on the comments. Thanks, you guys, for hanging out. And again, shout out to the playoff winners. Let's see. So I did not do the voodoo. Let's see. Cheers. Welcome back, Escobar. We have someone lined up before Eric. Oh, okay. So I take that back. My bad. I thought that was already a for sure thing. Let's see. Champion in my book. So that's kind of interesting thing, right? Like, what's harder? Is it harder to win the season? Is it harder to make the postseason, or is it harder to win the postseason? Postseason it's more luck, right? Than and being fortunate, where the season is more strategy and being a good manager, right? So, what's harder though? Is it harder to win in the postseason, or is it harder to get in the playoffs during the season? I feel like if you, it should be relatively easy to make the top 8 out of 12 teams in a 20-week season, when the threshold to make the playoffs has consistently been around 10 games, 10 wins. So you should be able to get to 500 and make the playoffs. I feel like winning in the playoffs, and maybe this is just me because I don't win in the playoffs, but I feel it's a lot harder to win in the playoffs. I feel like as a manager, there's more stress in terms of making the right moves. Sometimes you in effect hurt yourself because you overthink. But anyway, let's get excited. Let's get hyped up. It's the postseason. Season's over. 2023 season is in the books. It's done. Congrats to the people who won season winnings. I'm fucking excited for a 3rd straight winning season. You know, we'll see what happens next week. If I lose, I'm fucking cursed. That fucking curse from 10 years ago, whatever the fuck it was. But good luck, Justin. Good luck, Dale, AJ, Alejandro, Moy, David, and Adam. Good luck and props to you guys. It's a long time. It's a long time to play fantasy baseball. It's a long season. It's 5 months. Think about it. It's 20 weeks, 4 weeks a month. That's 5 months of setting your lineup and managing your team and being present and trying to, you know, win and be excited for 5 months. It's not easy. We all have things going on in our lives, jobs, family, kids, it's a lot. And just to wake up every morning and set your lineup, that deserves a toast. And that's why you guys are in the playoffs. So give yourself props. Have an extra drink tonight and get ready, because tonight, actually have a few drinks so this way you guys oversleep and then I take your players at midnight. But again, congratulations, guys, and thank you so much for watching these videos and encouraging me to do this. I really do it for the league, and because I love being a part of this league. So let's get it to the playoffs, huh? Cheers. I will see you guys on the quarterfinal recap. Later.